Sportscenter.
Hey, I'm Chris Berman. Got a lot of games to cover. Let's get at it. In our first game this week, we had the Cowboys win by a 9-point margin. In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Cardinals pick up win number 2. Todd Uriah Heep had a stellar game, but all said and done, his performance wasn't enough to lift his team to a victory. Michael Bennett was responsible for over 150 yards rushing and helped his Vikings beat the Texans. Down in the deep south of Atlanta, we had the Falcons win this one to the tune of 13 points. Down in New Orleans, we had the Saints get sent away with a 7-point loss. Raiders, Colts. Edgerrin James is such a tough runner. Split the backfield at the 35-yard line, and look at him stiff-arm that defender, and it opens up the hole for a touchdown. The Colts go on to win this by the final score of 23-10. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, thanks. Luckily, we had a relatively injury-free week, which makes my job just that much easier. Rob Morris is arguably the biggest name on this list. It's a broken arm, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for 10 weeks. So that'll do it for now. Chris, let's send it back to you.
The Broncos got 300-plus yards from their offense in their victory at Invesco Field at Mile High. The Browns won on the road and will now head home to meet the Bengals. In an NFC West matchup, we had the Rams win their 4th game of the year. Travis Minor stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. Bills, Jets. Santana Moss is so dangerous with his speed. The ball at the 27-yard line, and there's a little stutter step, and he's wide open. Touchdown! The Jets win this one by the final score of 24-20. We had a big trade also of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Well, trades aren't quite as common in the NFL nowadays as they are in other sports, certainly. But we've got news to report to you on the trading front nonetheless. Sean Ellis leaves the Jets and heads to the Panthers. And it's clear this was an area of their football team that needed somebody. In exchange, they'll get someone to beef up their roster. Julius Peppers is a guy that ought to be able to fit right in with his new club, and he should make his presence felt over time.
Eddie George ran like a wild man and definitely helped his Titans beat the Packers. And in our final game, we had the Jaguars come away victorious.
All right, Chris, let's switch gears and talk about players that'll have new homes in the National Football League, as free agency continues to play such a huge role in determining a team's makeup. Dave Fiore is going to find himself with a new club, and he'll be in a new tax bracket, too. 2 years, $2.1 million. Brett Williams is on the move. Perhaps not for all that he thought he'd get, but a good deal nonetheless. 6 years, $5.2 million. This guy will also have a new address for a while as he signs a 4-year contract with the 49ers.
So that'll just about do it. But before we go, I'm going to toss out a few game balls to my prime-time players. Each and every one of these men had a week to remember. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.